What's up everyone, I'm Duncan Knee-Deep from Team We Disney, just here to remind you that you can still pick up an MBL t-shirt in the link in the description down below to support the teams of the MBL. It's a fantastic shirt and you should definitely check it out.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Multi-Battle League channel. I'm that guy Harvey and we are so close to the start of the playoffs. We're all very excited and we have the free agency trades, the 3 trades that the teams get to make for the playoffs. To talk about them, I'm joined by Lothar Toast and that one guy, Ben.
Hello, MBL. It's good to see you again.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Let's just jump straight into it. We have Team Cyberbaz's only trade, dropping Regigigas for Serena. We'll go with Toast first. Toast, what do you make of this?
It makes sense in my eyes. They brought it once, it got shut down. It's quite obvious with its ability. Slow start is quite slow.
Quite literally, quite slow.
Wide guard. If you're in this kind of format, especially multi-battle league, if you see a support mon that is purely support and you have slow start like Regigigas does and you can't dish out much damage, you're just going to forget about that. It's not like it has follow me and you have to deal with it. You can just ignore it. Just take out whoever out on the other side is, and then it's a 2v1. And that's such an easy win con for a team. Regigigas allows for that to happen. Serena is good. It has drop kick. Also, you can lower their attacks. There's another mon that stops priority. Even though it is a physical attacking grass type, I feel like it differentiates itself enough to warrant the pick.
I can absolutely agree with this. Serena has a surprisingly deep and useful move pool. It has, I believe, access to safeguard, dual screens, drop kick is useful. It has access to one of Grass's only spread moves in Razor Leaf if they want to go that route. It has access to play rough and high jump kick for a surprising amount of coverage. It's a pretty easy pick. Serena's a surprisingly useful mon. They now have a little bit of a different way they can go if they want to bring a different grass type. Breloom is kind of one-dimensional. Serena's a lot bulkier, but Breloom's obviously a lot stronger. Serena has more support, but Breloom is going to net those KOs more easily. It really depends on what the matchup is, what they need at the time. I really like this pick. I really like Serena in general.
Yeah, I can completely agree with all the points you made. Serena seems like a very good pick for them. Regigigas, as Toast mentioned, not really doing the work. They had the plan for it, but it just didn't really cut out for them. Shut down by having a choice scarf tricked onto it early on. Yeah, Serena I could see working out quite well if they match it up right. As you mentioned, it's got a lot of support options, and I can really see it working for them. And with that, let's go on to Team Dreeball. They have picked up Team Blue Hunters' Electivire and dropped Toast's favorite Wiggly Woo, Tangela. Sad boy is sad. Aren't you, Toast?
It hurts me so much, but I can understand why. Tangela is a fantastic bulky follow me user, but except from that, it's a very similar situation with Regigigas. You do have to deal with it with the follow me, but it's not doing much else back. Like as a support mon, its move pool isn't the greatest. Like what Toxic Infestation and support moves, but then you got Electivire on the other hand. Fantastic special moves, fantastic physical moves. Access to follow me because of XD Gale Darkness, access to help in hand so you don't even have to, like you can boost the other person's damage, Fire Punch, Thunderbolt, Psychic, Focus Blast, Earthquake. There is so much Electivire can do. It's really good for the actual tier it's in, and I think this is a fantastic pickup. Not only that it doesn't impede any more weaknesses, because obviously Zapdos is a flying type, so you're not shooting yourself in the foot, doubling down like Cyberbaz was and giving yourself another fire weakness. You're just giving yourself a ground weakness, which they can cover really well with their mons.
Yeah, for sure. Electivire is definitely an interesting mon. It's a little bit of neat type synergy as well with some of their Pokemon like Tapu Fini with its motor drives. They've shown propensity for switching in and about all the time, so they switch out Tapu Fini into Electivire and suddenly you have a +1 speed Electivire, and combined with its crazy good move pool, its good support options. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tangela's redirection is Rage Powder, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it's also a redirection that can't be blocked at all. That's a nice pickup for them, for sure.
Yep, 100% agree. I just want to quickly touch on a bit more of the Pokemon synergy that you did mention. You mentioned it being with Tapu Fini. I can also see it with Drifblim. Also with Zygarde being able to go out onto the field and spam discharges over and over. That would be very nice for them. As Toast mentioned, it's better than Tangela in that it's another redirection user, but it has a much better offensive. Tangela is just more of a nuisance. It just kind of sits there, does its thing. Electivire actively wants to hit you in the face and hit you in the face extremely hard. I 100% agree with this trade trade-off. Sad to see Tangela go. It did manage to go to one game though, so at least it's got that on most of the other things. Let's move on to our next team. The third place team in the regular season team, Drinking Birds. They have dropped Oricorio and Heliolisk. It's a shame that Heliolisk has to go. Didn't come to a single game, but in its place they pick up Electros and Gotharita.
On their side, what you had the Darmanitan, the Metagross, and the Ninetales already weak to ground type moves. Electros can come in, it levitates. Granted, it's a bit weird with Electros, like it's slow and it doesn't really do much damage. It has a really fantastic move pool. It's going to be nice for putting in as maybe the last mon because you can cover so many bases with it. With the Gothita, I like it just because trapping. A lot of times you could potentially see a way of them winning with them just trapping in a mon, especially someone against like Team Dream Ball, where we saw in their game, if they could have like trapped in a couple of mons a couple of times and picked up the KO, that would have won them the game. But obviously now they have this option and I like it, but I'm just really kind of not sure about the Electros.
Yeah, the Gotharita, I absolutely see. Shadow Tag is a very, very powerful ability. It's been widely regarded as possibly one of the most broken abilities in all of Pokemon. It's unequivocal trapping that you can't get out of unless you're a Ghost type. Given with the fact that Gotharita is surprisingly bulky with Eviolite, that's going to be pretty interesting to see. It's got a surprisingly limited move pool, but I mean, really, it has what it needs to be a good support mon, so that's going to be interesting. Electros is definitely the more interesting one. As Toast has mentioned, a really good move pool with access to moves like Giga Drain, Flamethrower, Knock Off. If you want to go real deep, you can go Coil Zap Cannon. That's a thing that can happen. But I want to see if they're going to be able to use something like Gastro Acid, which is another move Electros gets. Suppresses the ability, so if they deal with something like Jamie's Superior, they could Gastro Acid it if it goes for Leaf Storm. Uh-oh, now you're at -2 instead of +2. I'm kind of curious to see how they go with that. It's definitely an interesting mon, type synergy-wise and ability-wise, but I kind of want to see what they do with it. They probably know more what they're doing than I do, so.
I agree. It's a curious pick because Heliolisk couldn't really do too much. I think they have a better type coverage that way, in the way that Toastus mentioned, that they could easily come in on Earthquakes now instead of having to rely on maybe Landorus to do such a thing. The best pick out of the two has to be Gotharita. Obviously, Shadow Tag is going to be massive for them, and if they can utilize Shadow Tag to the best of their ability, and I have no doubt that they can do that, then I can see them just destroying a team or two in this playoffs. It can be really lethal to anyone they come up against, especially with things potentially like Linoon after it's set up, being able to trap in your opponents that are unable to switch out into anything, and you can just start e-speeding away at them. Similarly, you could have Metagross just beating down on them, Lando beating down on them. They have so many options to just run through a team, and Gotharita makes that slightly easier now, in my opinion. Let's go straight on to our fourth team, the fourth place team, Team Jamie. They have dropped Victini, Tyranitar, and Rotom Fan, and have instead picked up Team Subs' Typhlosion, Thundurus, Therian, and Weavile.
I like this a lot because these seem like comfort mons for Team Jamie. I've known them for a long time. Boy had a lot of success with Thundurus Therian. Last year, I was speaking to Miller, and just before UK Nationals, he was telling me about Weavile. If you look at the other teams that are in Top Cut, Cyberbaz, they got 4 Ice-type weak mons. Dream Ball have quite a few mons that are weak to Ice. Drinking Birds, obviously, as well. There's a lot of mons, so it's very nice with things like that. We know how setup-based in the past Team Jamie have been, and a nasty plot Thundurus is extremely scary, and it has a multitude of Z options. We've got All Out Pummeling, Corkscrew Crash, Black Hole Eclipse, Shattered Psyche, Gigavolt Havoc, Bloom Dooms at 160, Acid Downpour, Supersonic Sky Strike, and obviously you've got Blatant Blitz, but everyone gets that. So that's loads of options as a potential nuke. Obviously some of them are physical, some of them are special. Base 105 attack as well as 145 special attack. Nothing to slouch on. The only one I feel is weird is the Typhlosion, and I feel like they've only picked that up to keep the Fire Water Grass core. Except from that, I'm not sure what it really adds to their team dynamic.
Typhlosion is interesting to me because they're effectively replacing Rotom Fan, but really they're replacing Victini with it. And they lose support options, but they gain arguably a better spread move for them, and that they now have access to what Team Subs did with Typhlosion, which is Choice Scarf or Choice Specs Eruption. Base 100 speed, and I can't quite remember its special attack off the top of my head. It's decent enough. With base 250 power move at full HP is nothing to slouch at. I'm curious to see how they use it. It's a very one-dimensional mon, but that one dimension is pretty strong. Weavile is something they think they lacked, which is a strong ice type. It replaces their dark type they dropped in Tyranitar, so they keep their dark type. Definitely, as you said, Toast, seems like a comfort pick. I think Rotom Fan was effectively replaced by Thunderous Therian. It's just a better electric flying type. Like, I'm sorry to all you Rotom Fan lovers out there, it's just Thunderous Therian is just better.
Shots fired at Tailwind. Shots fired.
We love you, Tailwind, but we don't love Rotom Fan.
Shoutouts to that.
Thunderous Therian's a interesting mon. It's got a lot of coverage, obviously carrying over from the incarnate form. It's a little bit slower than incarnate form, but it's much stronger on the special attacking side. It's like base 145 or something ridiculous like that. It has access to Nasty Plot, like you said. It also has access to agility, so they can run a double dance set. So that's gonna be fun. Not sure if it's Sludge Bomb, but I know it gets Sludge Wave for sure. All sorts of fun Z moves. It's definitely gonna be an interesting mon to see with. And it also provides some nice type synergy with Blastoise, with Volt Absorb. Can't wait to see how they use it. Want to see how they use Typhlosion, maybe more than anything else, because the other two are pretty self-explanatory for them.
Oh, it's so scary. Why did they have to pick up Thunderous? I was a bit surprised it wasn't drafted initially at the start of the season. I'm kind of happy to see it picked up now because it is an extremely powerful mon, and it just brings me a little bit of joy to see something that's potentially could run through a whole team, picked up by a team that have run through whole teams using Porygon. Now they have quite a simpler way to set up using Nasty Plot, and they can still run a Z-Crystal, as Toast has mentioned, on that as well. Weavile is extremely good for Fake Out, and Pursuit as well. Pursuit is something we haven't seen very often. It can potentially Pursuit trap a lot of Psychic types you might see running about. As you mentioned with Typhlosion, it is a little bit of a one-dimensional set using Scarf or Specs Eruption, but that's still a very powerful asset to have. I was a little bit surprised that they did potentially drop Yanmega, seeing as it's only really come to 2 games and barely done anything in either of them. They used to sack it off, essentially.
They must know something we don't.
Yeah, they know something we don't with Yanmega. We're going to see it come through. Shall we move on to Team Not Scored? Because they have some very nice, interesting trades of their own. They have dropped Malamar, Mega Garchomp, and Licky Licky, and have instead picked up Mamoswine, Drapion, and Kyurem from Team Blue Hornets. Or the Mamoswine coming from Team Flawless. Toast, your opinion on this?
Malamar had to go. That did nothing.
It survived a total of 1 turn all season.
Licky Licky could have been nice, especially with Drinking Birds, with weather shenanigans they have. Obviously, with it having Cloud9. Garchomp, I was a bit skeptical about at first, but then losing that 10 speed is just so hurting it. It just makes it so much more easier of a target, because as soon as you drop down from the base 100, it's just to set the target on your back. Kyurem, I like a lot. As we were talking before this, I just thought it got Icy Wind, but I totally forgot Glaciate also dropped speed. So the biggest problem I saw on Team Not Schooled side was stopping setup and speed control. And both Drapion and Kyurem offers support for both. Kyurem can obviously lower speeds, and it hits really hard. It's fantastic. It's got a great move pool, and yeah, it just hits like a truck. And Drapion gets things like Toxic Spikes, it gets Whirlwind, it gets Taunt, so you can easily stop it. It's base 95 speed as well, so one user, which is really nice. Mamoswine, I'll just quickly touch on, it is a truck. It just plows through you. It will allow really big, easy hits. So it makes a lot of sense for me in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I know in the last weekly, I believe it was weekly recap, myself and Harvey touched on the fact that Not Scald just didn't have a good way to stop setup. They had Dragon Tail on 2 of the mons they dropped in Mega Garchomp and Licky Licky, and of course Malamar has its signature move of Topsy-Turvy, but we all know how well Malamar turned out this season, now don't we? Kyurem is probably the most important mon they picked up, obviously with Glaciate, all the fun moves it gets. It has an incredibly powerful Ice Beam. They did pick up 2 ice types, which is really, really important, especially for this playoffs where there's a plethora of Pokemon that are highly, highly allergic to ice. And then Drapion, of course, as Toast mentioned, fast taunt user. I think it gets Bulldoze as well if you want to go that route for an additional speed control. It also has stuff like Poison Jab, and of course it also has Pursuit like Weavile before it. That's gonna be fun. Mamoswine is kind of the let's click buttons and watch things explode Pokemon, really. You're really, really not stopping this thing. You gotta kill it before it kills you. I like their trades a lot. I like the fact that they are capitalizing on all the team's ice weaknesses and going, let's take advantage of this and abuse it.
Acupressure shenanigans. I would like to see that. Trust me. I want to see it. I want to see it happen.
Oh, please no. The speed tier I think we're kind of all sleeping on here is 95. not only does it drop below the base 100 speed tier, it drops below the 95 speed tier, which I think might be slightly more important in a lot of cases, just because there's a lot of Pokemon that are just kind of sitting around the 90 to 94 speed area. I believe Kyurem kind of rests there. Things like Buzzwole have like 79, and Arcanine, of course, also has 95, so they're kind of in the middle of the speed tier, but it's right in that sweet spot that you're not too slow, but you're not too fast either.
That's like more of a predicament, I see, because you just get turned off by Tailwind and you're not slow enough to outspeed stuff in Trick Room, so it's really awkward with their speed tier. So they're going to have to either match Tailwinds with Suicune or breaking out the Icy Winds with Mammoth Glacier, in this case with Kyurem. They're going to have to deal with speed control a lot better now, and I think they actually set their selves up so they can.
Drapion's the most interesting one that they've picked up, but the best one, in my opinion, is, I wanted to say Kyurem at first, but I think it's Mammothwine by far. They're dropping Mega Garchomp. At first, I thought, huh? You dropped that? Then I saw Mammothwine next to it, and I'm like, yep, that makes a lot of sense. It is all round a better ground type in that it's more versatile. With Mega Garchomp, it has to hold its Mega Stone. With Mammothwine, you have a potential Z user. You have anything that can run Choice Band, Choice Scarf, Focus Sash, Life Orb. You have a much more versatile Pokemon in Mammothwine than you do in Mega Garchomp, and that's why I like this trade so much. They have a lot more options with it instead of running a standard set where they just go max attack, speed investment, maybe some HP. Now they can go, all right, we don't need as much attack maybe if they're running Choice Band. Let's put some more into HP than we normally would. As both of you mentioned, it can run through teams, and given its better versatility, it's more able to do that. It has more survivability, I think, now.
It does have access to Freeze Dry, so it can catch things like Team We Disney's Gyarados, Soft Guard, or something else like that. It's not as one-dimensional as just like Icicle Crash, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Rock Slide. It does have a couple support options.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with that. I can't wait to see what they do with all their trades. And now we move on to the last team in Team We Disney. Obviously, they stuck into the playoffs right on the last day. They have dropped Frostlass and Silvally and instead picked up Ambipom and Machamp.
Ambipom, 100% understand why. Finally gives them a good fake-out option. We saw how much damage it can do with a Z Crystal from Team Leaky, but Silvally, well, Machamp, I kind of not understand as much. Always talking about how they're saying it's a comfort mon for Shofu, and being a fan from his from a while, and I remember a lot of his Diamond and Pearl stuff with the body bag stuff in particular. Machamp is a comfort mon maybe for Shofu, and it has had won world championships but on their team, I think it's just either a bit too slow or it just doesn't do much. Like, I'm not sure they're just going to be relying on dynamic punching and rock slides. But yeah, as I said, I'm just not sure about the Machamp. I would have thought Silvally would be better, or even like something else, because especially if you want something gone with a fighting type move, Howlucha can just easily come in. But as we've seen last week, especially with Team Jamie, it just died instantly. So it's very frail. It's like a catch-22 in my argument. I don't know which is better.
It really depends on the situation, to be honest. Machamp, of course, has Dynamic Punch, which Hawlucha lacks, has No Guard, Dynamic Punch, and Rock Slide, which is mildly relevant. We all hope Rock Slide never misses, but those rocks are treacherous at best. It also has access to things like Heavy Slam and Bullet Punch. It also has the Elemental Punches, of course, but the thing that I think drew them to that is that it also has some small, if but still relevant applications as a support mon. It does get Wide Guard, so it can protect them from Glaciate, / Icy Wind, Rock Slide, Earthquake, all that fun stuff. They also got Quick Guard, so now they have 2 users with Quick Guard. Ambipom, of course, as we know, Leaky did really well with it. It's got an incredibly strong Fake Out. It's got Technician Fake Out with Stab, which is yikes. Yeah, Ambipom is just perfect for them. It's their only Fake Out user. They really, really needed a Fake Out user. They didn't really have any good way to grab back momentum before this. But now with Machamp, with Confusion, with Dynamic Punches, possible flinches, and Tailwind with Rock Slide, I like these picks. I think Machamp is as much of a comfort pick as we needed a little bit more support here in bulk as anything else. So I'm excited for Machamp. Ambipom, we've seen what it can do. I want to see what Machamp can do this time, though.
I do like the Machamp pick over Silvally. The one I mentioned previously with Mammothwine is versatility. And Machamp, I think, has more than Silvally. Because with Silvally, you almost have to run multi-attack on it. Almost every set you see with the Silvally has multi-attack with the core, with the drive you're given. I know you could run it without a drive and have a normal type Silvally, but I mean, I don't think they used it once. And most of the time they ran Ghost. I know they ran Ice once as well. But when you want to talk about versatility, they have that a lot more in Machamp than they do in Silvally. And we know we've mentioned it a lot, but Ambipom is a really good pickup for them. They needed a Fake Out user in order to initiate strategies, in order to gain back a bit of momentum if they're a little bit behind. Amber Pom is a massive pickup and a really good mon for its tier. I'm happy to see that they picked it up. It really aids their team, especially in setting up things like Tailwind and trying to set up maybe with a bulk up on Tapu Bulu, for example. Maybe trying to set up a Dragon Dance with Gyarados. Just little things like that. Anything that can help them gain a little bit of momentum or start setting up strategy is beneficial to Team We Disney.
For sure.
Anyone notes that we want to add before we close out?
Quick note about Amber Pom as a nuke potentially with a Z Crystal. I didn't realize how in depth its move pool is. You get like all out pummeling for 200 base power, Acid Downpour for 190 because it gets Gunk Shot, Tech Rage, Corkscrew Crash, Inferno Overdrive, even a Hydro Vortex because it gets Water Pulse for some reason through like Tutor and Oras.
Still counts.
Gigavolt Havoc, Sub-Zero Slammer, Black Hole Abyss, Devastating Drake. Well, granted, that's only base 100 power.
What?
Black Hole Eclipse. Yeah. Supersonic Sky Strike, Savage Spin Out. There's so much it gets.
I think on that, we can close out the video now. And those are your free agency trades for the MBL Season 2 playoffs. We hope you have enjoyed the video. We hope you keep supporting us, supporting all the teams throughout the playoffs. We're very excited to watch them get underway. I've been that guy, Harvey. I've been joined by Toast and Ben. Thank you for joining me for this video.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, MBL fans, for supporting us through the season. And get ready for playoffs.
I'll be seeing you on the pick'ems.
And with that, we wish you a very good day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.